The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 years, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Victoria Jones from Satoshi's Page.
Good evening, everybody.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. The price of Bitcoin is down 2.77% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 65,716, a high of 68,300, and a low of 65,172. Volume was at 3,920 Bitcoins, changing hands. Issue 1. Jane Street accused of insider trading that helped collapse Terraform. That's right, Jane Street, the major investment firm, is accused of using insider knowledge allegedly from an insider chat room, where instead of helping save Terra Luna, they destroyed it, unpegging the stablecoin and causing the entire exchange to collapse. The collapse from Terra Luna spread far beyond Terra Luna into Celsius as well. When Terra Luna's stablecoin lost its dollar peg, Alex Mashinsky maintained there was minimal exposure for Celsius. However, Celsius moved more than $500 million from a protocol on Terra as this collapse began, raising suspicions that there may have been more damage than Mashinsky let on. The Jane Street and Terra Luna temporarily sent the crypto price soaring. Now it seems to be coming back down. Victoria Jones, what do you think about the accusations against Jane Street?
Yeah, I mean, well, reading through all the documents, it's pretty terrible. And then, observing the knock-on effects. Apparently, Alameda Research, who were the company behind FTX, were doing a lot of trading between UST and Luna Coin, which probably also contributed to it. So, I mean, overall, there were plenty of shady things going on. I don't think it was just Jane Street. I mean, obviously, they were part of the problem, but there just seemed to be a culture of very shady stuff going on generally at that time. I still think there's plenty of shady stuff going on, as we're probably going to discuss this evening. But yeah, I mean, am I surprised? I mean, every time we bring up one of these stories, it's like, geez, Louise, can the world get any worse? And unfortunately, these stories, are prominent because they are in the minority, but of course they have just such a massive effect on so many people. So it's just terrible. I mean, I don't know what it is about these industries that just seem to attract psychopaths, that really do not care about the impact that they're having on other people. They're just in it in order to make as much money as they possibly can, and damn the consequences. And of course, there are many other people in different situations that suffer terribly as a result of that. And as sad as it sounds, I think it's just a lesson of wake up and not be so naive to so many of these other people. So many people that we're trying to educate and bring up these stories in order to try and save them. I think it's terrible, really. Unfortunately, I'm not surprised, but I think it's terrible.
It certainly does seem like crypto has all the bad actors and all of the scams. We said originally we'd go back to the 1920s and everyone could try all their fancy, clever scams and all the flim-flam and whatever. This isn't even a flim-flam scam. This is just straight up insider knowledge, insider trading. From what we can tell, allegedly and so forth, it seems like there was a chat room where Jane Street was supposed to help Terra Luna maintain their peg. Instead of helping them maintain the peg, they destroyed the peg, betraying the company, betraying all of them, making boatloads of money for Jane Street. We're talking millions and millions of dollars. There's also rumors on the internet that Jane Street might have behind the October 10th collapse, where the price cratered, as well as the recent 10 a.m. selling. They seem to have a thing for the number 10. I don't know, again, why they would sign everything like that. You're the wet bandits, we destroy their house, then we flood it. Why would they do this? Like Victoria said, this destroyed all kinds of people's lives. people in the Celsius loan system, they were assuming that the dollar coin, the stable coin, would maintain its peg. It didn't maintain its peg. It collapsed the loan system. It collapsed the Terra system. It's a disaster for crypto. And it did lead to a nice little rally there for a while, but it seems to have fizzled. Exit question, Victoria, will we see more of this? Will Jane Street, will the lawsuit blow up? Will this add to crypto? Will it drive the price back up? Or will the infamy drive the price back down as people can't trust crypto anymore?
Unfortunately, it's a tale as old as time. I mean, even in the traditional financial system, you've got the story of Nick Leeson, who ended up breaking Barings Bank because he was doing all sorts of dodgy things, trading. So even before the age of crypto, it's, if people can get away with it, then they will. And obviously, it's these sorts of stories that tend to lead to increased regulation, but of course by then the damage is done. So yeah, it's going to happen. You have to be very, very careful. And I think in terms of diversifying your assets, it's not just about getting a diversified portfolio in order to make sure that you're capitalizing on profits in different areas, but it's also about safety. I mean, the world is just such an unstable place at the moment. Obviously, we've got huge debates going on at the moment about the software and Bitcoin, which I think is probably contributing to the price of gold and silver. I mean, Bitcoin seems to be like a new digital solution, but when you start to get problems in the crypto industry, people go back to what they know, and the last known stable thing that they know is gold. So consequently, since August, we've been seeing a huge rise in the price of gold and silver. So yeah, you just have to be on your toes all the time at the moment, in finance, and to be wary of what's going on. The governments can't be trusted, institutions can't be trusted, banks can't be trusted, crypto can't be trusted. If you get gold and silver wherever you steal it, wherever you store it, can't be trusted. So, everything's a problem. You just have to, hedge your bets and try and find the best thing that you can in the meantime and hope one of them wins.
Well, I don't want to go all Mr. Rogers on anybody here, but it does seem, once again, if you do bad things and they're obviously bad and they wreck tons of people, you're going to get caught. They're coming for you right now, Jane Street. You got to run and hide. They keep retweeting this picture of this guy with a fedora on and a leather jacket, and they say, he doesn't like having his picture taken. Oh, it's going to get bad for you, buddy. We don't even know your name, person who runs Jane Street, but we know that you're going to be taken to trial. They're going to bring all this out, and it just goes to show again, they probably could have made tons of money on crypto anyway, but they wanted a sure thing. They had this insider knowledge, and they used the insider knowledge, as Victoria said, to hurt people and to basically help destroy our industry. So thanks, Jane Street. And I agree with Victoria. There's going to be another one. There's going to be another one. There's one we didn't know about in the past. And maybe there's even one happening right now. Moving on to issue 2, Block layoffs. Jack Dorsey's new company is falling apart as it, quote, forces employees to use AI. The overarching culture at Block is crumbling. Block, a payments company, has laid off more than 4,000 employees, with the CEO, Jack Dorsey, saying that it's better to lay off everyone at once than to lay them off slowly. I'm not so sure. Many people have pointed to the $68 million that Block spent on a party for employees last quarter, which may have crushed the stock and cost them more than 400 salaries. As it says here at stockmarket.news at underscore investing with a Q, nobody's talking about the party that they threw in Oakland with Jay-Z, Anderson, Pac, T-Pain, and Soulja Boy on stage. 8,000 employees flew in from around the world, and now they're laying people off. Victoria, what do you think about Block and the sudden layoffs, and of course the internet, unfortunately bringing up that $68 million party you had last quarter? Yeah.
I mean, this has to be one of the most insane stories I've ever read. It really, really is. I mean, as impressive as AI is, it's still an emerging technology, and there are huge issues with it. At the moment, apparently, some AI companies, I think we shared the story on here a few episodes ago, where they're having to go to government in order to get emergency funding because they're having to spend more than they're bringing in revenue. Yeah, I mean the technology is so young and so fragile, and for Jack Dorsey to say that all companies are suddenly going to be laying off employees because AI is taking over is just such a recipe for disaster. I mean, the technology is so immature. You have to constantly sense check what they're telling you. I mean, yes, it can gather information quicker than we've ever been able to gather it in the past, but it's like in the days when I was learning to do maths with the calculator, your teacher would all, they'd still teach you how to do rough calculations so that you knew that what the calculator was telling you makes sense. I mean, no one does that these days because they just assume that, they're still getting the right answer. But in the early days of technology, you're still relying on a certain level of inherent knowledge in order to sense check the information that you're getting from AI. So for an entire company to dispose of half of his workforce overnight in order to rely on AI is just insanity to me. And as clever as AI is, it will never replace human beings who also rely on emotion, and they also rely on gut feeling, which are powerful when they're in alignment. And that's what helps you to sense check some of the information that you're getting. So, to suggest some of the world's biggest companies are all about to abandon their staff in order to adopt AI, I just think is ridiculous. I mean, if anything was telling us we're on the brink of a financial disaster, then it's this story. I was just like, you cannot be serious. And then for him to spend 68 million on a party for his workforce, I mean, yeah, enjoy. It was like £6,000 a head or something. Ridiculous. I mean, it's like some people, if they get sudden wealth overnight, it's like they lose all sense of reality, and especially when it's that kind, and it's just honestly, it's like a snake eating its own tail. It's a recipe for its own tale of destruction. I just boggles my mind.
Well, and I thought that Jack was loaded. I thought he could just carry this company himself. If he wants to have a $68 million party, couldn't he just fund it himself? Why put it on the company dime? I guess maybe you could have 3 out of the 4 artists. You couldn't have all 5. It seems like it still would have been a great time. And what's interesting about this party, I did some searching beforehand, and the computer tried to tell me it was okay, but there are no pictures of this party. There are no Instagrams of this party. There's no mention. I assume they all signed NDAs, and this was a private party. But I'm just questioning how good it could have been if no pictures, no video has leaked, if it was important for hip hop, if these artists coming together on stage meant anything. But I guess it's like when Elton John or somebody plays a private party, or so-and-so plays for the Sultan of whatever, we don't see it. Even if it is musical history, Paul McCartney, Elton John, allegedly not him, of course, but other people coming together in private. Nobody takes a picture, nobody takes a video. But again, going back to this AI thing, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I agree with you, Victoria. I think it's a cover story. I think that Block's in trouble because of the party, Block's in trouble because of the crypto downturn, and because it's a lot harder to get people to use this stuff than people think. And I think that they're covering that up with this AI story. I think that it's what people want to believe. They want to believe that we're at this level where AI is already replacing jobs. And they read the Spotify story, how Spotify doesn't write any code. The AI writes the coders review it, and then they commit it to the servers. They haven't written code in 6 months. The underlying thing of this is that big business really wants to fire us all. They look at the labor budget on their departments, and whatever the company is, drive-through fast food, a telephone service, brokers, programmers, artists, whoever it is, they want to fire you all. And it's great, right? Because the labor goes down, and I get it. They're saving money in the short term, but who's going to buy your products? Who's going to buy your products if nobody works any jobs anymore? Even Block. Don't you think these employees could have used your products? Maybe that's what they need, is more dog fooding or something to make their product useful and make it stand out. I don't know what Block or Square or Payments or PayPal or I don't know what any of these things are, what they're for. There's so many options. You can have your own store at whatever, Spotify, I don't know, Shopify. They're all out there. There's so many options. And yeah, I just don't understand what they're doing with that party. Victoria, what do you think? If it was such a great party, why are there no pictures? Can you believe?
Yeah, it does sound rather strange, and it's quite possible that there are either NDAs or, yeah, I mean, I don't know. But for a company to spend 68 million on a party, I mean, that seems insane. £6,000 a head, and then to fire all your staff. I mean, it just unbelievable. Unbelievable. That, it boggles my mind. I'm just like, the world is literally insane.
Well, and why not show us the party? Let us see a little bit of what you destroyed the company for. Why keep this on the servers? But I guess they do this all the time. Salesforce has conferences and concerts in San Francisco, and nobody's invited to that either. So they just thought they were going to be Salesforce, they were going to be IBM. They went way too far, it seems. And I think there'll be maybe some books. Maybe somebody will write about it someday if the company craters. But we'll
I
have to
think
see.
I think all the employees need to leave so they can start building their little homesteads. I think it's the world kind of future planning when the rest of the world collapses, and these people, for the lack of anything else, they just need to start building their own little homesteads, growing their own vegetables, stocking up on toilet roll, because it's all going to go down.
It's still hard to imagine the transformation of this Jack character from I'm a long-haired hippie and I only wear Birkenstocks, I'm going to run this company, don't worry, I've got the funding, to I'm going to fire all 4,000 of you at once, rather than slowly, because it's better for company culture. But in the same way, what if things turn around? This presupposes that the company is toast. What if, like, 6 months they get a deal? They're not bringing back 2,000 of these people. And then to float this AI cover story as if they're still producing the same work product or the same output with less people, less head count, which it's a great cover story. I mean, congratulations to the PR people, but I think it's just ridiculous. I mean, let us know in the comments, do you guys buy this AI cover story? Is Block just as good a company without these people because of the magic of AI? And I mean, it's fun. I like AI. I'm looking forward to trying out Perplexity Machine and whatever the new thing is. And again, the whole idea seems to be spinning up an app in like one line. It doesn't seem like maintaining complex code written by tons and tons of developers that actually runs is what it does. Right now, there's been reports this weekend it deleted some Facebook security professionals' email. It deleted all of the code for Amazon AWS, just like in Silicon Valley, the TV show, where they say, oh, the computer has fixed it. They've removed all the bugs. It deleted all the code. And it's a joke, and it's a funny joke. But it's happened now twice, like in the last week, with OpenClaw deleting that girl's email, and with Amazon Web Service actually going down. Like the server's actually going down because of a code problem created by AI with too much access, basically. But
Yeah, I rest my case.
well, we're moving on to the next issue. Check out World Crypto Network at worldcryptonetwork.com. We've got some new videos, new to us, older videos. They're from Bitcoin Las Vegas. Let's check out a little bit of this Bitcoin Las Vegas highlights. I just recorded some random video while I was in Las Vegas, and I thought it was kind of fun, maybe even now. This was before the Peter Todd talk. Let's see. Doesn't seem to have any audio.
This is an alien game where your guest might just launch you into another dimension. This is
So it's
the
like
BitBoy game show.
Do you think she knows what's going on?
No, she doesn't. That's what makes it hard.
Step right up, spin the wheel, or go where your fate is just a hash away.
Well, sometimes the wheel turns you.
I like this of the puzzle. You are not bullish enough.
You are not bullish enough. So just an interesting clip from the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas last year. I'm going to put a few more of those up, so keep checking the channel. We also had a great shout out from Tone Vase. Thanks so much, Tone. Great to hear from you on Twitter. Tone has been going back and watching the old UASF videos on the World Crypto Network and really been tweeting about them. And it's great to see Tone helping people find those old videos. As it says here, the following is a full and detailed thread on what led to the BIP 148 UASF that ended the scaling debate with a SegWit activation. Anyone that is currently pushing for UASF BIP 110 should take the time to learn the history of this controversial consensus change method. And I'm not sure that it's intended to be a consensus chain method using UASF. That was just what we had to do that one time. I'm also not sure about this BIP 110 being a soft fork. It seems more like it might potentially be a hard fork. As it says here, if it comes into effect with around 55% of the hash rate, there's a high chance that it could cause a chain split. So we really are walking out on the edge of the line. And then if they make the jump, presumably things would be fine. If they don't make the jump, chain split, 2 chains, it was a hard fork, whoopsie. And a lot of people are saying the same thing on Reddit, that if you change the rules, it could result in a split. So this is a very dangerous potential rule change that people are promoting. But let's move on to issue 3. Trump and his family have pulled $1.3 billion out of crypto in just 13 months. More extractions are expected through WLFI token, along with controversial moves like the CZ Binance pardon. Damage done to crypto's reputation is much bigger. We also saw this last week that the USD1 token, packed by Eric Trump and the WLFI, World Liberty Financial Organization, temporarily depegged after Eric Trump began deleting all of his tweets about Bitcoin and WLFI. The stablecoin, which again, similar to Terra Luna, is supposed to stay at $1, depegged to 99 cents and 71 hundredths of a cent. This is bad news. Victoria Jones, what do you think about the Trumps making billions of dollars off of cryptocurrency, and Eric Trump joining the people at Jane Street in deleting his tweets? The Jane Street people, we didn't talk about last time, but they deleted all of their tweets. Mr. Trump has deleted his tweets about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
What, he's deleted his tweets on Bitcoin as well?
It's tough to say. I think that they've been removing all their tweets because of they think they're potentially liability. I do think that there are backups of these tweets, I assume. So we'll have to see when the lawsuit comes around. But yes, I think they've been deleting all of their crypto tweets, and it looks very bad from the outside, possibly even causing the situation that they're now in a trouble for, the depeg.
That's shocking. That's shocking. And these are the people who make the rules. I mean, they've got all those warnings on cryptocurrency exchanges now to say that, you're not covered by the other safety mechanisms they've got in place for the traditional financial system. But for the person who's leading the head of US lawmakers to be actually one of the bad guys is just, I mean, it's just, the world is literally, this is the end.
Well, I don't know how he's going to get away from it. He also runs a company called American Bitcoin. And I assume these tweets are still there. I've seen him in data centers and so forth, looking at his mining machines, and they seem very pro-Bitcoin. And then this World Liberty Financial, it's literally their firm. Like, they own the firm. They go on all the things and they talk about how we were getting debanked and everything was so bad for us. They don't mention why they were being debanked or what it was for. We don't know. But now everything's fine because they own the bank. This is the bank they own. This is the one. So yeah, it's crazy to see them running away from it. Yeah.
That's terrible. And I think, the story coming on top of what you demonstrated earlier with the stories from Jane Street and the impact that had on Alameda Research and FTX and then Celsius, it just goes to show the catastrophic knock-on effects. And for that to be started by the leader of the Western world is just mind-blowing. I mean, I study financial history. I haven't seen a story quite as bad as that. I don't know, maybe the Mississippi bubble and the South Sea bubble probably are on a par, but it's just that is insanity.
There was also a meme, I don't have it with me, but it was Mary Jane from Spider-Man, and she's pointing at Peter Parker over her shoulder. And she's like, see, my boyfriend's not bad at cryptocurrency trading. He was dumped on by Jane Street and by the Trumps and by the entire organization. Like all of the world and the sky tumbled down to produce your losses. It didn't make me feel any better, but I do think it's a little bit true to where our market is fine, our product is fine. Paper Bitcoins being sold and resold by these people, huge losses, huge strange trading instruments like these stable coins that then depeg when you delete your tweets. That's a cool new feature. That has nothing to do with Bitcoin, but it does affect the Bitcoin price in the short term very clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's terrible.
All right, let's move on to issue 4. They seem to be doing some drilling upstairs in my apartment. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it's
That's
great
really
that they
bad
waited.
timing.
They waited for the show to start to start the drilling. So sorry, everybody. I don't have really any options. So moving on to issue 4. Crypto exchange Binance may have funded Iranian entities, reports say. Shortly after Donald Trump pardoned CZ, the Binance founder, they found that Iran may have been moving billions of dollars, $1.7 billion through Binance system. Victoria Jones, let's get me off the audio. What do you think about Binance allegedly funding Iran?
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me because, Iran has been cut off from the rest of the SWIFT system, which leaves them very vulnerable to not being able to trade with other countries. And so this is why Bitcoin is a perfect solution. It isn't just individuals who've been cut off by the government. I mean, we have a number of friends who got into Bitcoin because they'd had bank accounts shut off. You've also got situations of refugees who can't get any papers, or have to leave a war zone and leave all their assets behind. But of course, the prospect of being able to put all your wealth onto a digital device and then remember 24 words and cross the border. I mean, it's remarkable. Bitcoin is perfect for this. It's anti-establishment. And of course, the SWIFT system is the ultimate establishment. One of the reasons why they're attacking Iran is because they're deliberately trying to rebel against what the West is doing. The only thing I hear in the news as to what Iran has done wrong is that they're trying to build nuclear weapons. Well, most of the West has nuclear weapons, so why aren't they being cut off the SWIFT system? So it's crazy. Yes, Binance probably has transferred money to Iran. That's what Bitcoin is designed for. But you don't want to give cryptocurrency exchanges the same kind of protections as the rest of the financial system, but you want them to be the people who are putting obstacles in place for people who want to kind of try and get around a system that's been set up very unfairly. So, what are you trying to win here? What argument, where's the moral standing over this argument? I don't get it. It's just like, yeah, Iran may well have used money. If I was Iran, I probably would. Does that mean you should shut it down? I don't think so. But anyway, and this is the problem with having crypto on centralized exchanges. It Bitcoin was originally designed as a peer-to-peer currency where you didn't need any kind of centralized organization. The moment you need a centralized organization in order to make sure that it's distributed, this is the kind of problem you have. In the early days of Bitcoin, people argued for these centralized exchanges because they said it would help it to be distributed. But now, of course, because you've got all these know your customer and anti-money laundering rules, they're actually being used to try and monitor transactions that Bitcoin was meant to try and get around. It's very confusing. And of course, this is the problem between the battle we have with rules built on software and rules built in the legal system, both of which have their issues, as we're finding out.
Well, it's never good when I'm the one who has to stand up for the establishment. But I do think that Binance had a duty to make it harder for Iran to use their cryptocurrency exchange. Yes, Iran should be using cryptocurrency. I agree with Victoria, but they should be driven, no offense to Iran, driven to the dregs. They should have to use Monero or I forget the Zcash and all the other strange privacy coins and meet up in dark alleys. What Binance did is they gave them a way to move significant amounts of money with very little trouble. And you can almost look through it and see as if they're going to make the Binance movie. There's a scene where they all get together and they have the pizzas and the whiteboards, and they say, if we could become the destination for these criminals and these countries that can't move money properly, and they use us to move their money, we could make a fortune on the fees. And that's really what this is you stack up the dead bodies, or you stack up the sanctions violations, or you stack up the crimes, or whatever you want to say is going to happen because of this money moving. Money's not allowed to move, money moves. And you say, okay, now there's a lot of death. And you say, well, did we get our 10%? Did we get our 15%? Did we move it to our account in Malta? Did we move it to the next place? Is it in the Swiss bank account? And it seems from the outside, that's what Binance was set up and intended to do. So when we get this result, it's not a surprise to me or anyone analyzing from the outside, but you have to wonder from the inside, what percentage did they get to move this money that presumably hurts people? Normally we'd be talking about maybe Hamas or one of groups like that, more of a terrorist group. Iran does actually fund those groups. So we don't know where this money went to, or they allegedly fund those groups, but it went somewhere bad. Binance helped and they profited. So I assume they sleep well at night on piles of money.
Bit like Trump's money, you mean?
Well, that's the same thing where we don't, the same questionable money flows are coming in, and we're supposed to have rules where it says, okay, you can donate to a candidate, or unfortunately these days you have to make a political action committee. You have to funnel the money a couple times. Now you can just openly donate the money. Saudi Arabia, other companies bought huge amounts of Trump coin, and the money just goes in their pocket. And it's a very transparent operation. We can thank cryptocurrency. Good job, Satoshi. So, not what he or she planned. Maybe they could put Justin Timberlake in the movie, just like a throwback to the Social Network, where he was the Napster guy. Of course, at the same time, we must remember Sam Bankman-Fried rotting in prison, realizing that CZ caused not only the FTX crash, but also received a presidential pardon and is roaming free even after sending this $1.7 billion to Iran, while he has to rot in his cell. Breaking news, it says that President Trump will not pardon Sam Bankman-Fried. Victoria, just quick reaction. You've seen SBF on Twitter. He's running this whole, there was plenty of money, I didn't misuse it, defense. It's a very poor defense. Many people responded, if you put all the money in heroin, it would be more valuable. But it's hugely illegal. You can't just take people's money that you're supposed to hold as a deposit. So go ahead, Victoria, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy defense, and to Trump's credit, he's not pardoning him, because Sam Bankman-Fried was clearly, they were behaving abysmally. And even in the Harvard report that you showed earlier, it was apparent that one of the biggest reasons for USDT's collapse was because Alameda Research was a big part of that trade. And, you know, CZ's biggest fault in that situation was he called it out. I mean, people were just arguing, oh, CZ shouldn't have said anything and everything would have been fine. It was just like, well, no, you know, if he knows all's fair in love and war, it's just like, I know I'm going to take you down, because at least then I can protect some of my stability. I mean, you know, it's a fairly fragile argument, but as far as I'm concerned, CZ was probably the least bad of the two. So, you know,
I would still be terrified to play CZ in chess. what a
Oh yeah.
sacrifice he makes. I think he might have had 120 million into SBF and into FTX. I don't know the exact number right now, but he cut off his arm. But like those hikers or that hiker in 127 hours or whatever, he crawls out of the desert. You can't stop this CZ guy. No, I wouldn't want to play him in chess or Go or mess with him, even craps. I wouldn't want to play him in any game of chance. The man is a very lucky, lucky man. But we got a couple other short stories before we head to the end of the show. OpenClaw founder Peter Steinberger banned a contributor for simply mentioning the word Bitcoin on the OpenClaw server. The user was referencing Bitcoin's block height as a clock, not even using it for transactions. Steinberger says he hates crypto. At some point, he may have to learn the difference between crypto and Bitcoin, says Bitcoin News Calm on Twitter. We've heard previous stories about this. He had some other startup. It went up, it went down. He wasn't sure what to do next. He kind of got a lot of attacks from the cryptocurrency community, and he doesn't like them now. The OpenClaw software started off as a Claude bot, became Molt bot, became OpenClaw, and recently Steinberger has not joined Claude and Anthropic as you'd think. He's joined OpenAI and ChatGPT, presumably taking the OpenClaw agent software framework thing with him. So it's not surprising. It's also not entirely unfair. The rules do say don't mention Bitcoin, don't mention crypto. It's a little discriminatory, but at the same time, if we see it from their perspective, if all of these altcoins and Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies are the same, they're just banning anybody from promoting one. It does seem like something useful for OpenClaw and for AI agents, though, to have their own form of money on the internet that can't be stopped. Victoria, what do you think about the OpenClaw banning Bitcoin?
Well, it's the first I've heard of it, so I can't really give a very in-depth comment, but it does seem very strange to, simply ban someone for mentioning. I mean, although, is it that unusual? I mean, there are plenty of social spaces where they have rules about what you can say and no self-promotion. And if he's made it very clear that he doesn't want anyone talking about crypto, it's like, well, fine. That's his opinion, and I think it's fair that that should be respected. So I'm not surprised that the person is blocked. But his sensitivities are his issue. There are plenty of other places where people can go and talk about crypto somewhere else, so I'd leave him to it.
It's also important to respect the rules of these committees and these communities. We talked about it so long ago with ChangeTip. They used to go everywhere and give everyone $1, and it was cute and nice. But sometimes tipping messed up the community. They had a legal advice community where experts who were paid hundreds of dollars an hour for their expertise would come in and volunteer, and then ChangeTip would give them $1. And it's like, it's not about the dollar, they're volunteering. You can see how trying to insert a financial instrument, even if it's for a block clock or a block height issue, it could be against the rules. So I don't think it's that out of line, but I do hope he changes his mind. I think there's open AI and cryptocurrency have a lot to offer each other, so I don't think we're that far apart. We've also got a curious twist of corporate strategy, according to John Law at Scottsdemist. Bitcoin Standard Treasury appoints Bob Stefanowski as CFO, a sign of institutional momentum, and this is the Adam Back Bitcoin Treasury firm, the first that we're hearing of it. Victoria, they're doing the drilling again. And what do you think about Adam Back starting his own Bitcoin treasury firm? I just thought we should report on that in general.
Yeah, I mean, I still think there's some issues to be cleared up over Adam Back on Epstein Island, really. I mean, that seems to have all gone a bit quiet. I think he's much more a suspicious personality now. And for him to be then launching into a treasury company along with everyone else who's trying to destroy the world does not fill me with hope and inspiration. So yeah, I know there are plenty of other people on this show who are much more impressed by Adam Back, but I'm not convinced now. I'm sorry.
It does seem like a simple thing. Everyone's starting their own treasury company. I don't know what's wrong with the old message of just buy and hold some Bitcoin. Hopefully it works out for you. That's actually what Adam Back told me. He said, yeah, you should get more Bitcoin, not, sell your Bitcoin to live, which is what I generally have to do. And generally, he's been right on that. Sometimes not so much, but generally right. And I thought that was kind of enough for a technologist person to say, I like the Bitcoin, I buy it. It's very interesting to see him elevated to this position of essentially a financial figure and a financial authority. When he famously, I don't know if people know this, I don't know him that personally or anything, but to my knowledge, he didn't buy Bitcoin early. He didn't buy it when it first came out. He got some emails in his inbox and it got mentioned in a really cool paper, and maybe he thought about it, but he didn't put, $100 in. He didn't do the early moves where you say, oh, I should follow this man. He did late moves, and he followed it, and he's been buying, as far as I know, not knowing his personal finances, but I think he buys Bitcoin. He
Indeed,
ran
he's
Blockstream.
gone.
I think, yeah.
He's gone from technology nerd to financial whiz kid running a Bitcoin treasury company. I mean, you have to have some powerful friends behind the scenes to go in that direction with your career. I think it smells bad to me, but that's just me.
Well, and that's, of course, another thing for which there are no photographs. There are no photographs of Adam Back at Epstein Island to our knowledge. Many things have allegedly been cut out of the Epstein files. For all we know, similar to this block party that they had, there's a private server somewhere at Blockstream that has all the fun photos that they took on their great vacation with the islands and such. I don't know. I agree with Victoria. It's very suspect. I wish it wasn't true. It seems very true from the files and so forth. I don't think he's denied it. But people are now knocking on the door in the middle of the show while there's drills. So that's always the best. Victoria, do you want to talk for a
Universe
second?
does not want us talking about this tonight. Oh dear. So yeah, what can you say, guys? It's looking a little bit. It's looking a little bit tricky. Most of the world appears to be very confused about its values at the moment. That's all I can say. Obviously there are plenty of individuals who understand Bitcoin. They understand its design from its inception as a tool to correct some of the financial shenanigans that we've had to struggle with for over 4 centuries now. And as a result, it was designed as a very hopeful tool. But unfortunately, it's this intersection between traditional finance, which is tied up with the legal system and many of the financial structures a lot of these companies have to rely on, that are now causing all of these problems. And, it does worry me. It does worry me. We're getting far, far away from what Bitcoin was originally designed to be. And it's not just at the level of company structure either. With this debate that we've got going on with the software, I don't think there are, I'm not convinced that we've got a good solution yet. I think the problems were introduced in September last year. Obviously, you've got this hard fork as a solution, but of course, that's going to cause other problems. And of course, if you're relying just on a single developer, you're going to create something that's no longer as decentralized. I don't think either of those are solutions. I don't think the upgrade that Bitcoin Core did is a good solution. I don't think that the BIP 110 that they're proposing as a solution is a solution. I don't think we found the right solution yet. So, and it's interesting going back to Tone's tweet thread from that you mentioned earlier. Right at the end, he pointed out that they didn't actually come up with the right solution. They were talking about SegWit for about 18 months before it was only in the final days that they finally had a solution that everyone could agree with. And I still think, we're in the early days of this debate yet. I don't think, people fully understand the implications, because at the moment there are no good solutions. If it forks, both chains are a disaster, in my opinion. So, I'm on the sidelines watching to see how it plays out.
I really don't think, as they restart the drilling just in time for me to go, I don't think that the knots or the censorship thing is that big an issue. I think this is similar to SegWit or any of the other forks and problems in the past. We'll just look at in the past, we won't even know about it. I think the much larger issue is not just the Trump corruption, but the financial institutions corrupting our industry. Bitcoin was beautiful and pure. They made paper Bitcoin. They traded on it. They made shorts and longs. They made all of this coverage happen. And then Jane Street comes in, destroying the market allegedly every day with 888 Bitcoins at 10 a.m. So we've got some serious human problems in what looked like a beautiful mathematical system. And I do agree with you, Victoria. I'd like to get back to discussing that mathematical system, discussing how to get people onto Bitcoin using the Lightning Network, all of the technological things that we used to talk about before we became so heavily financialized. I know we said it in the past. I don't think that changes it. A lot of people saw this coming. Once we took their money and we had no choice, they're coming. Bitcoin can't say, I don't want El Salvador, I don't want MicroStrategy, I don't want Wall Street money. Bitcoin doesn't care. It's a protocol. It took their money. Once we were inundated with their money, we didn't have much choice. We had to go on this ride. So now we're going to see if they become a part of this system, if they destroy this system, if this system survives them. We really start to see that anti-fragile stuff. And I think the worry about the censorship and so forth, it's similar to the quantum issue. It's a non-issue. I also think the worry about the quantum issue is incredibly ridiculous. And the idea that people are now saying, oh, these Bitcoins need to move and the Satoshi Bitcoins are unsafe and all of these things. If they break quantum encryption, they break all the banks, they break all the CIA, FBI, secret file stuff. That's a huge problem. They're going to develop quantum proof encryption. The smart guy making quantum machines, there's a smarter guy making quantum encryption, and we'll upgrade to that. I know that's not complicated in the solution, but I do think that's what's going to happen. And we've already seen there's like some kind of Coinbase did what we suggested, what the community naturally needed, and set up some kind of a quantum lab full of rich, fancy scientists to study the quantum thing and put out reports and develop solutions. And I'm sure they're going to say, we're going to switch to a new encryption method if they break all of the world's encryption. Maybe they should just explain it like that instead of saying quantum computing. Anyway, we have one more kind of story, but just a celebration. Check it out here. According to @BitcoinSapiens, a hiker waves a Bitcoin flag at the peak of Mount Everest. As I look at this now, I worry that it's AI like everything else, but I hope that it's true. And it looks like a super cool thing that a Bitcoin flag was on top of Mount Everest. Look at that. We'll even zoom in. Maybe we can count their fingers. Looks a little cold. He's got bare hands at Everest, but there's all the prayer flags, it looks like. And there's the Bitcoin flag at Everest. And this is interesting because, as you know, Mad Bitcoins and Crypto Raptor once claimed Stonehenge for Bitcoin, waving a Bitcoin flag until we were brutally stopped by the people who work there. There's Mad Bitcoins looking very dapper and maybe even a little thin Bitcoins, waving the Bitcoin flag until we were stopped, horribly stopped. And then Dan Crypto Raptor came out and waved the flag some more. Yeah. I have to keep it going so you can see the part at the end where the guy comes out and takes it away from us. But yeah, we claim Stonehenge for Bitcoin. No one can stop. There he is. Oh, put that down. Get out of here. This is an English heritage site. No Bitcoin here. Oh. Looking back, they were probably right to try to stop us. It's incredibly great footage. And we would have just filmed more
I
if they
love
didn't stop us.
I love the juxtaposition between the Bitcoin flag and the God Save the Queen, because of course there's a huge juxtaposition between the monarchy and Bitcoin. It's just like one Bitcoin destroys the other. So it's not going to save anything, but
It's a very ironic music choice, I think. But Victoria, we're running out of time. Do you have a prediction or a story of the week? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm starting to predict a financial crisis this year. I mean, I know people have been predicting it for like 20 years, but I think it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's literally any day now.
Well, I think everything will be fine. And I forgot the magic 8 ball at home, so it says check again next week. That's always the best thing, is when it throws a non-answer. Not that much more to say. They're drilling upstairs right now, so I'm going to end the show as soon as I can. Sorry to everyone about the drilling. I know it's ruined the audio. It was a surprise, as Victoria will state. Before the show, no drilling. We turn the show on, they start drilling. Completely random person at the door. Not even anything to me. Random person, maybe didn't even speak English. I don't know what's going on here today. All during the Epstein segments as well. So conspiracy cover up, I don't know. But thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks, Victoria. Thanks to everybody in the comments and the chat, giving us a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, maybe not the drill sounds. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.